Whether you believe it or not, meaningful change can be a reality for you. Hi, this is Barry Phillips, a 10-minute Torah, day number 5 of the Torah portion, Bereshit. We go to Bereshit in the beginning, Genesis chapter 5, and let's read verse 3. That verse says, "And Adam lived 130 years and brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Shet." So 130 years gives us a little bit of a timeline here, an understanding. After Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, had been sent out of the garden, at some point it says in chapter 4, verse 1, that he knew Chava, his wife. She conceived and bore Cain. She said, "I've gained a man." She gave birth to his brother Havel, and Havel became a keeper of sheep. Cain became a tiller of the ground. It doesn't say anything here about their semblance, whether they looked like mom or dad, or were they just a part of humanity. It doesn't say anything there. 130 years of age, sometime after, evidently, the death of Havel, or Abel. We now read about the third son, and it is through Shet then that the lineage of Adam is to be counted. Cain may very well still be alive at this point. We don't know for 100% sure, but his lineage is a fallen lineage. Here we read of Shet and his descendants, that they're the ones that began to call on the name of Yah. And it is through this different lineage than that of Cain's that we see then righteous men, Methuselah. We see Hanoch or Enoch. We see Lamech, who brought forth Noach. So these are righteous men, men who have walked with Yah. Coming out of the lineage of Shet, two words are used here. One is, it says that Shet was after Adam's image, demut. And then also it is after his, or his likeness is demut. And then after his image is the word Selim. These are almost interchangeable words. Both of them give us the idea of representation of that which was previous, or a similitude of something. It is also words that is used concerning the creation of Adam, that he was made in Yah's likeness. Now, what does that mean? It does not mean that Adam looks like Yahweh, because it is not referencing Yah's structural image. Yahweh is not physical at all. He is spirit. So the likeness, the image then that is being referenced here has to be something else. In the theological word book of the Old Testament, the idea is then encapsulated in three components. One is that we are made in the spiritual image of Yah, that is, that his breath is within us, that we are animated by his spirit. Intellectual, that is, as Rav Shul says, you may have the mind of Messiah. Again, in his writings to Corinth, he was talking about how that the man who is filled with the Spirit, from the Spirit then gains discernment. It's as if the Ruach HaKodesh is the jump key. It is the USB device, such as I have here, where there's a download possibility of going from the Spirit into our mind, into our understanding. That is, that we have the capacity to read, to discern, to gain knowledge, to have wisdom, that our intellect can function as Yah's does. Not that we have his level, but as similitude of. And then finally, moral likeness. That is, that we understand that that which is moral, that which is the code of life, comes from Him. And certainly, the 10 words that we read about in Exodus or Shemot chapter 20, these are the foundations of any properly governed society in the earth or in any historical account. Where there is a departure from any of these, we lose the capability of rightly reflecting the image of our Creator. When we begin to be animated by self-will, self-determination, our own stubborn pride and arrogance, we are departing then from the Spirit of Yah that would lead us into righteousness and start walking according to the flesh that will lead us to destruction. When we began to prize our gaining of knowledge, facts and figures, and call that intelligence, we have a problem. It is almost laughable, and some of my peers and I have discussed this recently. That is to say that we send our children, grandchildren to universities and colleges in order for them to gain an education. While they may gain knowledge of information, it does not necessarily make them intellectual. It does not necessarily make them functional at a higher level. Some would argue it's more brainwashing than education. So I may acquire book knowledge, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to translate into that which will enable me to function at a higher level. Sometimes it just gets in the way. Or as my dad used to reference, good old horse sense or common sense. And then the moral likeness, where we depart from the structure of Yah's word. Obviously, we're going to have a great failure in life and in our society. The violence that has taken place this past week in Israel is a result of elements of this earth. That's a high level qualification or identity for some very low life people. They have departed from Yah's code and employed a code of their own. And therefore, we have the end result of great destruction and acts that are inhumane. In the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter number 5, verse 17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Messiah, he is a renewed creature. The old matters have passed away. See, all matters have become renewed." There is the ability for you and I to change. I can change. I can be a different person. So can you. If we're walking spiritually, intellectually, and morally apart from the will and the way of Yah and the truth and foundation of His Word, one can change. One might even be surprised to know that there are those who have perpetrated gross animalistic acts of human violence against Israel. That same individual encountering Yeshua the Messiah in a meaningful way, however that would happen, can be changed. The most debauched person in society or even behind bars in our prison systems, they can be changed. If that is true, how much more then those of us who are seeking to walk uprightly and falling or failing at times, we can change. The power of Yah is available to us. We can be made in the image and the likeness, not just of fallen Adam, but in the likeness of Messiah, the last Adam. Shabbat Shalom to you. I've enjoyed being back with you this week. May Yah's presence be with you as you gather around your tables, in your studies, in your congregations. Be filled with the Spirit and be changed, and we'll see you again next week. Until then, Shabbat Shalom.